What's up, guys? Jade's Corner here with a quick announcement before we get into the video. If you guys like Teen Wolf content and you want to see more, go check out my other playlists I have on the channel: Creatures of Teen Wolf, Teen Wolf Universe, Teen Wolf Mythbusters, Teen Wolf Mythologies. All your Teen Wolf content is in those playlists listed on the channel. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Roll intro. What's up, guys? It's Jade's Corner back here again for another Teen Wolf related video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the first video in a brand new series that I'm doing on my channel that will break down every single character, major, minor, and a character as minor can be that had some significance to the plot and main story of the show, called Teen Wolf Universe. Now in this series, like I said before, I'm going to be breaking down every character the show has to offer, major, minor, and even smaller roles. And the first of these characters is, of course, the main character of the show himself, Scott McCall, played by the one and only Tyler Posey. Now, I would like to thank everybody who has subscribed to the channel to make this possible, to keep me going, keep me motivated to make more videos for you guys. The videos have been doing really well. They've been getting their views back up for again to high numbers for the first time since 2017. The Beast of Javudin, Lowenmensch, and the Hellhound videos in particular are doing really well. They're almost at 2,000 to 3,000 views right now, so I really thank you guys for your support and sharing and spreading the videos with your friends and family. It really means a lot to me personally, and I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the first character breakdown of Teen Wolf Universe. Now, Scott McCall is the primary main protagonist of the show, Teen Wolf, as you all know, and he's the son of nurse Melissa McCall and FBI agent Ralph McCall. And Scott is one of two types of werewolves that can come into, existence within the show. He is a bitten werewolf. Now, to get into Scott's backstory, his family life was really shaky, and his father, Ralph, he was a drinker, and he drank excessively and fought with Melissa constantly, and if not, cheated on her, according to Styles' great-great-grandfather, Elias Stilinski. Now, we find that out in season 6, but we didn't know that at the start of the series. That right there I can get into in a completely different video, because that's kind of like a Teen Wolf Mythbusters type video that I could do. But yeah, we're not going to get into that in this video. But one night, Scott's dad, in a drunken rage, accidentally knocked Scott down the stairs, and he came to no memory of the incident that happened. But it was the last time Scott's father took a drink, and he left the family the next day with Scott hurt and angry for years to come. Scott apparently had a dog named Roxy, and while walking her, he and Roxy were attacked by another dog, and Roxy apparently appeared to protect Scott at the cost of her life. So Scott ended up losing his dog at a very young age right after his father left, which is pretty sad, but poor doggy. While walking, well, no, that's my fault. I haven't done a scripted video like this in a long time, so excuse me if I make mistakes every now and then. But at the hospital, he clings to his dog's body, and is looped around. The dog's looped around his arm, and as Melissa breaks the news that she didn't make it, Scott breaks down angrily and cries. he's very sad. He's very heartbroken by this death. And, when Scott was younger, before he was bitten by the werewolf, he lacked athletic skills. This is seen in season 1, episode 1, when Scott is questioning, oh, how can he do all of these amazing things all of a sudden after the night in the woods, when Scott and Styles were trying to look for the dead body, who ended up later being Derek's older sister, Laura. And, he required an inhaler to treat his asthma because Scott had asthma, I guess, after the stuff with his dad, or he might have had that since birth. It's not really clarified or, completely, explained in the series how Scott got his asthma, but when he's bitten by Peter and he transforms into a werewolf, it turned him into, the star athlete. We all know this from season 1 and going forward. He became, the top lacrosse player, even better than Jackson Whitmore. And Scott had also had an after-school job at the Beacon Hills Animal Clinic with his mentor, Mr. or better known as Dr. Deaton, aka one of my personal favorite characters in the entire show. He just knows how to get shit done. But later we find out he's a druid who, advises him on how to handle life and how to deal with supernatural threats that come in and are within Beacon Hills later on down the line in the show. Now, with the help of Styles and Derek, Scott learned how to control his abilities and overcame Peter's bloody vengeance, the Hunters, and the Kanima, which was Jackson, before becoming an alpha by force of will when taking on the Rock and Deucalion in his alpha pack. But he developed a close relationship with his ex-girlfriend, Allison Argent, even after the two were no longer romantically involved with each other. And, she went on to date Isaac Leahy. Even after her death, Scott still cares for her, and his memory of her saves him from the wrath of the Beast of Javudan. Now, I went over this in the Beast of Javudan video, talking about if Scott didn't have that memory of Allison stuck in his head, the Beast would have killed Scott McCall. Dead ass. I'm not even lying. The Beast would have legit killed Scott. Scott would have not made it out that fight alive if it wasn't for Allison. But yeah, the next section of the video will be called True Alpha. So throughout the 3rd season of Teen Wolf, Scott seemed to possess, weird characteristics beyond those of what a normal werewolf would usually have. And although he wasn't a member of a traditional pack, he was therefore technically an Omega. And Scott's eyes on occasions in certain episodes would go from yellow to bright it looks bright red to me, but I guess you can say it's dark red, but they would be red in certain occasions in certain episodes. And Deaton explains to this after Scott rescues Deaton from the Rock, that this is because Scott is a true alpha. And what that means is basically he can attain the status of an alpha by character and force of will instead of killing another alpha like werewolves usually do when they want to become alphas. So yeah, true alphas are really, really rare within the Teen Wolf universe, and they appear once every 100 years. If you want more information on the true alpha, I will leave a card above that will lead to my Werewolf Explained video where I explain every type of werewolf in the series. But yeah, let's get back to the video. In the season 3 mid-season finale, Scott fully attained the status of alpha, and a few months later at the end of season 4, he mastered all the abilities that came with becoming a true alpha after struggling with his inner conflicts and the powers that came with his alpha transformation in season 3 part 2 and in season 4. Now, I'm not gonna go super deep into Scott's plot every season. In season 1, Scott was bit by the alpha, we all know this, and he tries to adjust to the pressures of trying to stay with Allison while dealing with the mystery of who the alpha werewolf is, how to stop them, how to find a cure to cure his werewolf powers because he doesn't want to be a werewolf at this time within the show. Now, moving on to the second season, Scott tried to protect his friends while his high school nemesis Jackson Whitmore turned into a new creature, which none of the people in the town or supernatural creatures, with the exception of Derek, who heard this from stories, I guess, passed down in his family, they had to deal with Jackson turning into the Kanima. And he also manages to stop Gerard's plans of, starting a gigantic war between the werewolves and the hunters using mountain ash. Now, season 3, I think personally, is where Scott became more interesting as a character. He was kind of the normal average teen protagonist in season 1 and season 2, but season 3 is where Scott really folded into his own character, I would say. But season 3, Scott, he has to deal with coming into junior year, fixing his grades, becoming a better friend, a better son, a better student, a better everything according to him. And he has to deal with the mystery of why are so many kids dying, what are the rituals going on, who is the Rock. And he also has to deal with, at the same time, a group of alphas not coming for Derek, but coming for him, because he happens to be a true alpha and he has special powers that Deucalion wants, to utilize in his alpha pack. Now, season 3, part 2, Scott has to deal with the ramifications of season 3, part 1, and he has to deal with the inner conflicts of now becoming an alpha and now dealing with the personal struggles that he has to deal with now that he has the ability to lead his own pack and, basically answer the question of if he's a hero to the town, if he's what the town needs, or if he's the town's greatest threat now that he's an alpha, and if he's actually a monster like Peter. And while dealing with these personal conflicts, he meets Kira, he eventually dates Kira, gets with her in season 4, and he also deals with, Styles' personal problems, and, we all know what happened to Styles. He became possessed by the Nogitsune, therefore he became Void Styles as a result of that. And at the end of the season, Scott went through a huge personal tragic loss with the death of his ex-girlfriend, Allison Argent. Now, in season 4, Scott, is still dealing with the death of Allison, even though I think season 4 could have done a much better job with dealing with Allison's death. They kind of brushed over it a lot. So, yeah, I think that's something that could have been improved on in the 4th season, but we're not going to talk about that now. But Scott creates his first beta through an internal question. Well, basically, he's still struggling with if he's an alpha ready to take on the role of protecting Beacon Hills as its main savior, or if he's still a monster. He's basically still going through the struggles and the inner conflict he went through in season 3, not really knowing what his true destiny is. Now, in season 5, Scott encounters an old friend from, his younger years from his past named Theo. I got my thoughts on Theo when I get to that Teen Wolf universe video, but yeah, he encounters Theo, who he doesn't know is a chimera yet, but Theo attempts to take Scott's pack and his alpha status because, he's greedy, he's selfish, and he wants it all for himself. Now, season 5, part 2, Scott gets his pack back together. He tries to stop the Dread Doctors, who ended up turning Theo into a chimera, and he tries to stop their greatest creation, aka the newly resurrected greatest werewolf of all time, most deadly, most dangerous werewolf of all time, and the most powerful werewolf in the entire series that we have ever seen to this point and after this season, the Beast of Gévaudan. In season 6, Scott deals with the disappearance of his best friend after, Styles was taken away by the Ghost Riders in season 6, part 1, and he has to deal with remembering who he is and trying to get him back while also stopping one of the Beacon Hills High's new teachers, the Nazi Lowenmensch, which is not a werewolf, and I have another video explaining what what Garrick Douglas actually is, called Creatures of Teen Wolf, the Lone Mensch Explained. You guys can go check out that video. It's on my Creatures of Teen Wolf playlist right now on the channel. It's actually doing really well, so go check that video out. But back on topic, he has to stop the Lone Mensch, aka Mr. Douglas, from controlling the Ghost Riders and erasing all of Beacon Hills forever from existence. So yeah, and last but not least, season 6 part 2, Scott has to deal with hunters once again, and he has to stop Tamora Monroe and Gerard from initiating history's greatest supernatural civil war, basically between the hunters and the supernatural creatures of Beacon Hills and across the globe. Because at the end of the series, in the series finale, Tamora still has her army, and she's hunting not just werewolves but supernatural creatures globally. So yeah, Teen Wolf turned from a small personal story about a boy to a global scale, war on supernatural creatures. So yeah, that's basically Scott's summary for what he does in every season of the show. Now, last part of the video, we're gonna explain Scott McCall's pack, and then we're gonna get out of here. So after Scott was bitten by Peter Hale, he had Styles and Derek to help him understand his changes into a werewolf, and they introduced him to the world of werewolves and how to deal with the changes he was going through and things like that. And eventually Allison and Lydia joined his little group, and it became clear that Scott had a pack in the making. Since becoming an alpha, Scott had slowly been building his pack with the addition of Kira, Malia, Liam, and Isaac Leahy eventually in season 3. While over time the members of his pack have changed, the goal of this pack remains the same: to protect their town, and as of the end of the series, to protect the world of supernatural creatures from anybody who tries to attack them. So Scott's current pack as of the end of the series consists of Styles, Lydia, Malia, Liam, Mason, Dr. Deaton, and Corey. The former pack members of Scott's pack are Kira, Allison, who is dead, Isaac, Derek Hale, and Hayden Romero. And the pack allies, shit, he is a lot, are Jackson Whitmore, Melissa McCall, Chris Argent, Deucalion, I forgot to mention Deucalion, who is dead, Sheriff Stilinski, Ethan and Aiden, who is dead, Ken Yukamura, Noshiko Yukamura, and Brett Talbot, who is also dead. So yeah, a lot of people have helped out Scott throughout his time in the series. And without further ado, guys, that's gonna do it for the first edition of Teen Wolf Universe Scott McCall Explained. I would like to thank everyone for tuning into this video, and a lot of time went into finding out all this information, rewatching episodes of the series, to get more information, to build my information up, and to reinvigorate my knowledge so I can give you guys this video today. If you want to check out more Teen Wolf videos, I have the Teen Wolf Mythbusters playlist on my channel, the Teen Wolf Mythologies video on my channel, Mysteries of Teen Wolf playlist on my channel, Creatures of Teen Wolf playlist on my channel, and this new one that I'm making in today's video, Teen Wolf Universe, officially on my channel as of the making of this video. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching all of the Teen Wolf videos, including my smaller scale non-related Teen Wolf videos on my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, I'm Jade's Corner. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace. Have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your opinions on Scott McCall. What do you think of him as a character? Do you think he's a good main character? Do you think he should have fizzled out halfway through the series? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments down below, and I'm gonna get out of here. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, positivity. I am Jade's Corner, and I am out of here. Peace.